Welcome around the work stand. Good morning, David Martinez. How are you?
Mark, I'm doing well, thanks.
We are approaching spring in some parts of the world. Not you. You live in a perpetual state of spring in Southern California.
Yeah.
We won't say where. I don't want your adoring fans to come try and find you. But in a lot of parts of the country,
It's paradise. I'll
paradise.
just say it's paradise.
In a lot of parts of the country, people can see spring on the horizon. And so we got thinking, because you spend, and so do I, an awful lot of time talking about what stores are doing, what they're trying to get better at, how they find success, both in the stores and online via their Workstand website. But what are some things, or maybe one thing, that any store could do to be better set up for success as spring rolls in, both online and in store? And what we came up with was
having a great product mix. So
great product mix.
Products, yeah.
Seems obvious, but why does it matter, and what do we see getting in the way of having a good product mix, and what makes a good product mix?
So for stores who are looking to increase their e-commerce, you want to think about not just your local community, but everyone else who's buying from your site, and what do they want to buy? Do they want to buy, that one helmet brand that you just happen to stock and have a lot of colors on, or do they want to buy another brand of helmets or certain colors or other sizes that are just better for the overall, population of cyclists? So, yeah.
And what's some leading indicators?
Sorry.
Well, I was going to say some leading indicators for helping with that, because you might go, well, how do I know that stuff? Is search data. So it's not hard to figure out what people are searching for in the area. And I think, old school makes sense too. Pay attention to what people are asking for in the store, because a lot of times they walk in and they ask about a different color or a different brand or a different style. And it's easy to just flip over to selling them what you got because it works. It's a good helmet. But pay attention to that and record that data. But back to the search data. There's search data to help understand what people are searching for in your area.
Yeah, look at your Google ads, look at your impressions, look at the clicks, and those will kind of give you a good example of what people are actually searching for on your site. Now, it's not going to be everything. Obviously, if you're not carrying a certain brand, that that brand's not going to show up at all. But you can have a good idea on other brands through Supplier Sync what people are looking for.
Yep, that's a good thing. So Supplier Sync can be a leading indicator of sorts. The third or fourth time you get an order for a thing that's in a warehouse, it might be worth looking at that thing as something to consider as part of your in-store stocking plan.
Yeah.
And independent of any of that, if you're curious about search, Google Trends is, I think, still a good place to go figure out what people are searching for. It's a little more complex in the advent of AI search, but there's still some tools out there to help understand what are people searching for.
Yeah, just look at regular, bike review, websites. Look at your competitors, online competitors, and see what they're stocking, what they're selling, and look at your cyclists outside, right? What are they riding? What are they, what are they wearing? What are they using? Is it the new Garmin computer, or is it Hammerhead, or is it Wahoo? What kind of clothing are they wearing? Is it is it Rafa? Is it Specialized? What is it that people are wearing outside? And base your mix on that.
Yeah, we've all had that experience in bike shops where a really good customer comes in and there's something on them or on their bike that didn't come for our bike shop. And on one hand, that's a little upsetting. On the other hand, it's kind of market research data being done for you. So maybe broach that subject with that customer, not in a, why'd you do that kind of tone, but hey, tell me about that. I know I don't sell that, and you clearly were interested in it. Tell me about why you like that, where you heard about it. Did you hear it from friends and a lot of people? Tell me about that product. And it could give you some good market research to say, well, that's something worth. I've got this other thing here, and there's 6 of them on the shelf I haven't been able to move. Maybe that's a better approach.
Yeah, sure. And when it comes to P&A, you don't have to. I would never advise a store to, buy a lot of one thing to try it out, right? So let's just say, for example, the Wahoo Trucker light, the radar light, just buy one, right? Just buy one and see if it sells. And if it sells, buy 2. I would never say buy 10. I mean, they're kind of expensive lights. It's kind of, it's not really, it's not a huge risk, but, if you buy one, you can kind of just see if there's any movement on it, any action. And if there is, then there you go. There's your new light. So, you
Yeah,
don't need to
experimentation.
buy, yeah. Go ahead.
Experimentation's good, but don't go overboard.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that makes sense because having a full size run of some things is important when they come in lots of sizes, that they come in lots of colors. It's good to have representation, but you don't want to go full size run crazy on everything.
Yeah. Right. I was looking at an ad recently with a customer of mine, and one of their top clicks on their ad campaign was a certain bike. We looked into it. They have one color and one size, and we're trying to do some some theories of why it's not selling. They have all these clicks and all these impressions, but no one's buying this bike. Is it the color? Is it the green bike that no one wants, or is it the size that's wrong? Right? Is it a 48 when everyone wants a 54, 56? So kind of have those thoughts in your mind too. Like if I was to bring in a couple more of these bikes, could we sell them? Is it a hot bike?
Because clearly there's interest.
Of course, yeah, right. And the ad typically won't show what size bike this is or what color. It might be a different color on the ad, right, because of the thumbnail image. But once they click on it and they see it's a pink bike and a 48, like, oh yeah, not really my first choice. So I'm going to go somewhere else and see what else they have.
Yeah, but there's something driving that interest. They searched for something, they were presented with that, they clicked it, they got there and didn't convert. There's interest in that topic, that bike in this example.
Right.
But what is it about that one? Could it be the size? Could it be the color? Be thoughtful about that. Try bringing in a more common size, a more common color. If you get that to convert, then now you're onto something. Now you've got something that works from that. And extrapolate that to other things.
Right.
If you look across the store, and you've got another situation where that product's been sitting there, people are always all over it. Why don't they buy it? Think about those things and use the data that's available, be that supplier sync data through your Workstand site, be that Google search data or ad clicks like you were mentioning. Use that data to be more thoughtful in what to buy.
And when it comes to brands that sell well, going back to what sells well in store, just because it sells well in store doesn't mean people are searching for it online. If you have like that C brand or B brand of lights, for example, no one really cares. I won't mention names, but no one really cares about that. No one really wants that light, right? It's not the greatest of all lights. So no one's really going to search for that. So don't bet on these, on some of these BC brands that are going to to sell well online. So.
That's a really good point because when I had a store years and years ago, I had a sales rep that was really good about coming in, doing clinics, making sure we knew how to sell the products. And he occasionally had the A brands, but a lot of times, and I'll give live examples. We had been a Specialized dealer, easy to sell. Everybody loves Specialized, and through a series of unfortunate events, I was no longer a Specialized dealer, which I was sad about because I like Specialized stuff. But for things like comfort bikes, hybrid bikes, I picked up Haro. And he came in and clinicked and showed us where there were advantages at different price points. And we were able to sell as many of those bikes with Haro as we ever did with Specialized. It just took a little work. The difference is we're in the store, we're able to have that conversation. And that's a place where it's different online because you're not there. You are subject to search whims. Now, you can run ads and try and guide people to things, but there still has to be search volume for that. Right. So I think it makes sense to think about that from a different standpoint of maybe there's a more popular thing, and maybe you can replace that more popular thing with a less popular thing, and your sales staff can sell around that and still succeed because it's still a good product. But online, people are searching for what they're searching for. You don't get a chance to go, hey, I noticed you were searching for this. Let me tell you all about this thing. So, and I think that also lends itself to how you think about content on your website. Your content should be about categories and services you care about, but it should also tell stories and answer questions. So that middle ground where the search does capture them because it was more general. It was about hybrid bikes or comfort bikes, and it got them there. Make sure that content's trying to do that job of selling the features and benefits of what you have, and try and cross that bridge digitally.
Right. Yeah. Even use that space for your email marketing and newsletters. really give out all that education that's needed for that one new item you're bringing in to really help
Yeah.
sell that item. So,
Yeah, I agree.
and one other thought too is, looking at a lot of shops are doing local ads. Local ads are only showing items that are in your store. They're not showing things that are coming from a feed from supplier sync, or things that are maybe on back order. So if you do carry that one Wahoo light in, people will see that you have Wahoo. It's not like it's, if you don't have it on your website and showing in store, no one's gonna know you have it. So look
Yeah.
at those things. If you have kind of niche brands that aren't maybe not on your website, look at creating those brands on your in your website to alert customers that you do have these products. So
That's a good point, because in the Google product feed, it's in stock or not.
Yeah,
It's
right.
not four. I don't have four of them.
yeah, right.
And that feeds back into that thoughtful way of trying out new products. Don't go hog wild, but get one or two of the different things you think might work. If you have success with something like the Garmin radar, maybe bring the Wahoo in and see if bring one of those in next to it and see if that helps.
Yeah.
There's all sort. You can think of that example in everything. There might be another brand or a variation of a brand you already carry. You don't need to bring them all in. Bring at least one in and let that play out in those ads. That's another data point that really helps. I mean, it'll help you sell some, but it also helps you decide if you want to take a bigger cut at that in your inventory plan.
And another thing,
I might even,
go ahead.
I'm sorry. I might even suggest, as you think about something like open to buy, that you think about an open to buy category for experimentation.
Sure.
If some percentage, some small percentage of your stocking budget was put towards that, could that help you expand the sales over time and reduce the old aged inventory if you're just being more thoughtful with it? So I would suggest that a lot of budget to it and use that thoughtfully to expand what you sell.
One thing I was going to say too is, which I've said in our previous podcast or maybe a webinar, but don't. I'll say the phrase first, and then I'll kind of go into it. But don't sell with your own wallet, and don't buy with your own wallet either. In a sense where I'm working with a shop, and historically they've always had inexpensive helmets, like $35 helmets is what they've sold primarily, and I suggested to them, hey, no one's really searching for that brand of helmets on your on websites. Like, it's not really a common name. It's pretty generic. Why don't we call it another brand so we can get some helmets in that are a little bit more expensive? They're like $80, $120, $150. They brought some in, and that's what they're selling now. Like every day, they're selling a helmet around in that price range, and they wouldn't in the past only because that's what hey, it's what we've always done, right? We've always sold these helmets. They sell well in their mind, but now they're making 3 times the profit on just changing a simple tactic, if you will. So don't have that very, very inexpensive helmet, because that's what you're going to sell. If you have something that's $60 or $80, it's still reasonable. I mean, it's a helmet. You put it on your head to save your life here. You should invest in a good helmet. Again, now they're making 2 or 3 times X in profit. So
that's one of the examples of you don't know what you don't know.
yeah, right.
So if you never have that, you never know. And I think the only way, there's some ways around that. I mean, you can look at, for instance, bike sales with helmets, the ratio. I don't know what a good ratio would be, but I would expect if I'm selling anything from entry level up to almost enthusiast level bikes, pretty much every bike's going to have a helmet. Right. 60-70% probably has a helmet with it. If you're at 20 or 30%, you're missing helmet sales. Why is that? Could it be that for instance, you've only got $30 helmets? They're buying an $800 bike. They would spend 10% of the bike on a helmet. Buy a couple. Try that out and teach the sales staff how to pitch that. Here's a basic helmet. Here's one that's up a notch. It's going to be more comfortable and cooler, which means you're going to wear it more consistently. Can you convert that?
Do you mind if I go on a small tangent regarding helmets?
Absolutely not. If we had a big, long list of detailed content ready, I'd say no. But since that's pretty close to what we talking about, go ahead.
I work with a shop that does a lot of test rides on bikes. They do not require a helmet on the test rides. And to me, I don't know if it's just living in California and having that California liability issue, but to me, it's just like, So I would make it mandatory to wear a helmet on test rides. You don't know who these people are riding. You don't know what their skills are, what external forces there are on a test ride. But give them, if you do helmets with test rides, make it a good helmet. Don't make it a cheap helmet that's dirty and gross. Make it a helmet that you want to sell. It doesn't have to be $400 helmet, but it could be a $150 helmet. That it's easy to sell that helmet once you're in the sales process, right? Oh, this is the same one you use, right? And it's white or it's bright green, whatever it may be. But yeah, make it a good helmet. So it's a lot easier to sell that helmet if it is a good helmet during the sales process. So
that's a really good point, because I would argue that a lot of the reason people don't want to wear a helmet is because they're uncomfortable, or they're hot, or they're gross because it's the helmet their parents had in the garage for 10 years before they were old enough to need a helmet. If they put one on that fulfills all those fears, they're not going to buy a helmet. If they put one on and go, oh, this is what a helmet could be, I'd do this.
It's light.
You got a much better chance. It's light, it's airy, the clip didn't pinch their chin. It's set right on their head. There's all sorts of reasons for that. That's a good tip.
Yeah. Pro tip. There you go.
Pro tip right there. Cool. Well, we're going to keep talking about different things that we see, because we talk to an awful lot of stores. We see things where, they're struggling with something, and we figure out it's not always that, you're a pretty smart fellow. It's not always that we're so smart. It's that we have a lot of data to look at. So we'll keep bringing those things up. If you have one of those examples, or some place where you made a change like that and it helped grow sales in the store, we'd love to hear about it. If you could put it in the comments below if you're watching on YouTube, or send us an email at podcast@workstand.com. You have no idea how excited we'd be to actually get a thoughtful question at podcast@workstand.com.
That'd be great.
Yeah. Anything else before we go, David?
I think that's it. I'm good.
All right. Well, we'll see you around the workstand.